Alrighty, welcome everybody. So my name is Brett Williams, and if you are here for the 3 steps for unshakable confidence in the face of uncertainty. And I'm going to just jump straight into it. So I'm going to share my screen. You may see it already here, so I'm just going to share it. Elizabeth, can you just give me the thumbs up to say that you can see my screen? Fantastic. All right. So let me see if I can move this over here. Wonderful. All right, so I'm just going to dive straight into it, and at the end of there will be an opportunity to ask some questions and things like that as well. So welcome first and foremost. I appreciate you for showing up here to join in on my presentation in and around, as said, the 3 steps to unshakable confidence in the face of uncertainty. Now, when it comes to confidence, I want to start by asking you that particular question of what does confidence mean to you? And I invite you to write this one in the chat box, and I'll have a look at it a little bit later on because I don't think that I can see the chat right here. So, oh wait, here we go. I can pull up the chat. Elizabeth, what does confidence mean to you? And as you're writing that, seems like it's quite the in-depth one. To not be moved emotionally when something uncomfortable happens unexpectedly. I love that. That is fantastic. And so let's first start off by having a look at what the dictionary defines confidence to be. Now, as it says here, the feeling or belief that one can have faith in or rely on something else. And Elizabeth, you're talking very along those lines of being able to, that unexpected, so that belief in someone or something else. Now, when it comes to a new definition of actual confidence, is the way that I perceive confidence, because when I looked at this definition by the dictionary, I thought that it was a little bit vague and it was a little bit arbitrary as to what it actually is meaning and what it is actually talking about. And so I invite you to look at this as a new definition of confidence. The ability for you to create a predictable future or outcome. And so the reason why I'm looking at it from this perspective, and the reason why I invite you to look at this perspective, is because confidence is much more than who you are and how you show up. And at the end of the day, sometimes you'll probably be able to see in areas of your life where you've stepped into something with confidence because you've known how it was going to play out. And so confidence to me is, as it says here, the ability for you to create a predictable future or outcome. Now that result is neither here nor there as far as the good, bad, or indifferent, but it's about creating a predictable future or outcome in any given situation. And so as we move through today, I will be expanding a little bit more about different areas of this as well and breaking it down. So when it comes to confidence, and this is what I'm talking about here, there's essentially 2 aspects when it comes to confidence. And this is probably something that you've never actually considered before. And I wouldn't say there's a lot of people that are talking about confidence in this way. And when you really start to uncover and understand it from this perspective, as I said here, there's confidence in yourself when you're by yourself. Now, this is probably where we're all feeling right now. I have no doubts with isolation that, you are spending a lot more time with yourself, and that can be bringing up so much more than, maybe what you bargained for, what you expected, what you're hoping for. But it can be so easy to be confident within ourselves, within that environment when nobody else is around, because we don't have anything giving us that feedback. Now, the other side of confidence is being confident in yourself in any situation. So fill in the blank there when it comes to perhaps that is a work situation, or perhaps that is a social situation, or maybe it is even, in family environments or where have you. So being able to uncover and understand the confidence in these 2 areas, they show up in very different ways. But at the same time, when it comes to the foundation that we'll be speaking about today, I'm looking at the confidence in yourself when you're by yourself. And the reason for that is because when we can sit in that space, we're able to uncover a lot more about ourselves and understand what is going on, so that when we're in those situations that are seemingly challenging and confronting and just asking us to step up and grow, in those areas where in the past perhaps you haven't felt confident, i.e. on the right hand side here where we're talking about confidence in yourself in any situation, once you have started to gather a very strong understanding and uncovered how it shows up for you when you're by yourself, it will allow you to pick yourself back up when you fall in these situations when you're out in public or in social environments or what have you. So today, as I said, the confidence that we are going to be focusing on is building that foundation, and that flows underneath the confidence in yourself when you're by yourself. And so why listen to me? Who am I? Who's this guy in Australia, rugged up in a jumper? Well, my name is Brett Williams, as I said at the start, and I'm a founder and head coach of Life with Options, which is a women's online education, and Conscious Brothers, which is a men's online education. And for the last 2 years, I've been mentoring men and women in emotional awareness, building true self-confidence, reprogramming limiting mindsets, relationship dynamics, harnessing masculine and feminine energy, and self-empowerment, allowing you to step into your true you. And so the other parts in there as well is educated in NLP and life experiences. And there's been plenty of those indeed. So when it comes to what I'm sharing is not just coming from a textbook. It's not just coming from, if anything, it's not even coming from a textbook. It's coming from a lot of my own personal self-inquiries, a lot of my self-journeys when it was coming to uncovering a lot of these things for myself over the last 10 years or so. And also a lot of the learning and education that I've been through as well, plus, of course, the clients and students that I've worked with. So when it comes to step one, I talk about true traits. And what I'm saying is the first step here when it comes to the 3 steps that unshakable confidence in the face of uncertainty is knowing your true traits. Now, maybe not a terminology that you've heard before, and that's perfectly okay. But you can start to understand what it is from the point down here. Who are you independent of all material things? What I have found is that when people are not confident within themselves, it's because their power is being given away to some external source, to something outside of it. It's the dependency on how that image is looking, that identity. Now, maybe that's to do with your bank account, maybe it's to do with the car you're driving, maybe it's to do with all of these things. And when the foundation around this has been rocked and shaky, that is when confidence starts to really dip. And now we're obviously talking about the uncertain times that we've got at the moment. How can you have that confidence within yourself? So really starting to uncover what are your true traits. Now, these are things that could be anything from your ability to listen and be a safe space for other people, your ability to be able to change the energy of a room when you show up, or maybe it's your management skills, your ability to organize and to really take charge of a situation. It's what you bring independent of anything else. Because when you're able to uncover that for yourself, it will start to build a healthy, strong foundation for yourself when you're in a place of uncertainty. Because you can come back to knowing exactly who you are. And especially in this world today when we've got a lot of noise that's going on around the place, which is talking about how you should be, what you should be thinking, and obviously the news and media and everything like that. It can be very easy to get caught up. So some of the things that I suggest when it comes to really tapping into your true traits is uncovering what they are through maybe journaling. Start to think about some of the things that you're able to bring to the table. What are those traits that people really enjoy? What are those things that come natural to you? And so often when we talk about our true traits, it really is those things that are just so natural that you have a tendency in general to overlook perhaps and start to see as, oh, but that's just too easy. It comes too natural. So really start to write those down, uncover those for yourself, because in a time when you are needing to pick yourself back up, this will become your foundation to be able to build that strength and confidence in that moment, independent of whatever's going on. There's a saying that I say at times is that you may go to bed with somebody else, but you go to sleep by yourself. And the thing is in life, yes, there are definitely people around that can support you and help you to grow, help you to find that foundation within your life. But at the end of the day, it is your responsibility to yourself to understand how you operate and to understand how to regulate your own space and emotion, as we're going to get into in a second, Elizabeth, because that is definitely one of the steps when it comes to the 3 steps to that unshakable confidence. And so jumping into number 2, regulating your emotions. And this analogy that I've got down here about getting out of the pool is really around being able to disassociate yourself from your emotions and being able to logically view it and see it from an external perspective. One of the things that I say is that if you are in the pool as such, then you are in the emotions, you are feeling it. The water itself is the emotion. And if you're associating with your emotions, then you're unable to be able to have a steady foundation and steady ground in that moment, because you're unable to logically see. You're too caught up in all of the emotions, all of that spinning and all of the cycle that's going on within your own mind and energy and space. And so one of the things that I say, and it's also a good way to remind yourself in the moment, is to remind yourself to get out of the pool. Because when you're standing on the edge of the pool, you're able to view the water as the emotions and be able to start to see what is going on and start to curiously inquire into what is there for you to learn, what is there for you to understand. And the chances are, when it comes to regulating your emotions within this phase, you're probably going to find how you got into here the first time, how you got into this space where you've been questioning yourself, or you're just uncertain or a little bit shaky. And the benefit of this is that when it happens the next time, you're able to start to speed up the regulating of your emotions process. You're able to get back into that confident space, and you're able to just empower yourself because you've gone back to step 1. You reminded yourself who you are. You've gone into step 2 and you've remembered everything about who you are and how you show up, and obviously all of the lessons that are underneath that. And there is going to probably be some healing to be showing up underneath when you're regulating your emotions. So definitely a space to take that caution, the curiosity, and also that self-compassion when it comes to this. But being able to regulate your emotions will mean that you can logically take the next step. And when it comes to the next step, when it comes to step number 3, what we are talking about here is commit. And as said, don't hesitate in taking that next step. So you've gone back to step 1. You have reminded yourself who you are. You've regulated your emotions, so you're back in a neutral place. And the next step in that next moment is about taking an action. And that action could be anything from doing a video, making a phone call, or having a conversation with somebody. Whoever, whatever it is, when you do that next action, fully commit. Even if you're a little bit unsure or have some sort of a hang up around self-judgment or anything like that, when you fully commit in, you own that space, and it's going to feel a lot less awkward than what it may do if you kind of half go into it. And really, this committing is like the icing on the cake when it comes to getting yourself back on track and rebuilding that confidence. Now, this 3-step process could really take just a couple of minutes. It honestly does not have to take a long time. And this is something that I have used for myself time and time again over the years when I've gone through my own personal challenges that have led me into a space of spiraling down in an emotional place that is just unhealthy because of a lot of challenges that were going on in the past. And so being able to regulate this for yourself is something that is going to empower you. It's something that's going to take back that ownership of everything. And ultimately, in these uncertain times, all you need to know is what is your next step. So all of a sudden, the uncertainty has started to shift and change to become more of a certain perspective, because you know what your next step is. And once you've regulated your emotions in that second step, you're able to think logically, you're able to tune into your intuition and know what their next step is and be able to take that and move forward. And so recapping on that one, because I see Ariel's just come in a little bit late, and that's perfectly okay. This one here, so recapping on what the 3 steps is for unshakable confidence in the face of uncertainty, is step 1, knowing your true traits. As said, it's who you are independent of anything that is going on for you in that moment. It is who you are in just by being you. Are you a great listener? Are you somebody who is a supportive person to your friends? Are you somebody who can walk into a room and just change the energy and environment, because that's just how you radiate and how you show up in life? That great smile of yours, whatever it might be, your ability to navigate and also to be able to guide and support others through, event organizing or whatever it is. It's all of those traits that you have in here and in here. It's all of your knowledge and wisdom that nobody can take away from you. And when you remind yourself and celebrate those little wins, you will be able to build that foundation to have that unshakable confidence in the face of uncertainty. Step number 2, as we were talking about here, regulating your emotions. Because if your emotions are running the show, then you're not going to be feeling comfortable, you're not going to be feeling centered, and you're not going to have that confidence that you're deeply craving in that moment. Now, one of the things that I tend to say is and my view on emotions is it's our unconscious mind's way of communicating to us, to say, hey, there's something you might want to check out here, there's something to explore. And as said, when you are regulating your emotions, get out of the pool, get out of the water, and be able to see the water, i.e. the emotions, from the edge, and being able to disassociate from that so you can inquire into that curiously. And through being able to regulate your emotions, you'll be able to get back on track faster and without less, time wasted or anything like that. And ultimately being happier in the moment as well. So, and lastly, step number 3, as said, we're talking about commit. Once you've gone through that, you know who you are, you've regulated your emotions to get yourself back into that grounded, centered space, commit to the next step, whatever that is, that phone call, that conversation, whatever it is. It might even be walking away and going meditating. It doesn't have to be that sort of action that is very outward. It can be something very inward. But whatever you do, give that next step 100% of your commitment and your focus, because it's going to remind you and it's going to empower you, and it's going to start to create the momentum for you to keep moving forward and for fueling that unshakable confidence in the face of uncertainty. So that being said, I appreciate you all for being here, and I'll open it to any questions. I'm not sure how this is playing out after here, but I know I was told talk was 20 minutes, so I'm guessing we got a few minutes for questions in there as well. So that being said, I appreciate you all, and as said, any questions, fire away.
I think my mic is off. Can you hear me, Brett?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing this, first of all. And I just wanted to comment that I really appreciated the 3rd step on committing, and for you to say that, sometimes it's to tune into your intuition first to actually know that first step. And so do you have any tips for people on how to tap into that intuition?
Comes back to trusting in yourself.
Okay.
But at the same time, when it comes to that, like being able to build, years and years ago when I was kind of playing with a bit of a game for myself with rebuilding my own intuition. When I was starting to get into cameras and photography and things like that, I started to, as I was walking around Sydney, I would see people with cameras around their necks, and I would see that, kind of a bit of a shape. So in that moment, I was starting to connect into my own intuition as to see if I could see what camera that was from afar. And the reason why I'm saying this is that building that trust within your intuition. You have a lot of wisdom within you. And as I said, through regulating your emotions and getting yourself back to that neutral ground, you're able to slow things down and really connect in. And as I said, the next step, it might be the craziest of thoughts. It might be something that comes through that seems a little bit far-fetched or a little bit confronting. And that is the exact thing that you need to do in that moment and not hesitate. So when it comes to your intuition, is start to listen in a bit more. Perhaps another exercise that—
Hey everyone, my name is Joe Rotundi. I'm going to be talking today about how our money caused the economic crisis. By our money, I'm going to focus a little bit on the U.S. because the U.S. has the reserve currency of the world. It has been for a good more than 70 years.
Hey Joseph, can you hear us?
Since it's the linchpin of the world currency system, it's going to be the—
You need to move him, I guess.
drop and cause everything else to collapse.
Brett.
Let's start with a deserted island. We all land here on this island. Let's just say there are 5 or maybe 10 people that land there. So we have a distinction between money and production. Everybody lands there, and we're deserted on this island. What are we going to do? We got to, we have all these resources.
There you go.
All good, all good. So Elizabeth, did I answer the question there?
Yeah, thank you.
From my intuition.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No, you are welcome. Trust that next thing and don't judge it. As confronting as it may be and feel, take that action. And don't listen to people that say that's a crazy idea. Maybe even in that situation, don't even tell anybody what you're doing. Just take that next action. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, that being said, I might wrap it up. And unless there's any other questions.
Thank you. It was excellent.